cannabis industry is redefining entrepreneurship on a global scale. This industry is being run by some of the most successful, educated, and business-savvy entrepreneurs in today's market. UPSCALE TV is uncovering their blueprint to help you become a successful entrepreneur in one of the most controversial industries in the world. If you can operate in the cannabis industry, you can operate in any industry. Hey, welcome into the show. Welcome into UPSCALE TV. Tim Stromble, happy to be back with you. We have a fantastic show for you this afternoon. We're going to be talking all about cultivation because you can't talk about the cannabis industry without talking about the actual plant. First up on the show today, we're going to talk with Cullen Reichert. He is the CEO of Green Bros. They have one of the top dry trimming machines for mass trimming in the country. In addition to that, Cullen is an American United States military veteran. He's going to tell us all about how he is living the American dream. Then right after that, we're going to talk with Daryl Cotton. He is the president of Indigrow. They're all about sustainable farming. They use aquaponics. They develop urban areas, some very interesting and some very cool stuff with Daryl Cotton, so certainly stay tuned for that. But first, last week we got a little bit negative on the show. We talked about the DEA and Chuck Rosenberg and some of the dumb stuff he said. This week we're going to be a little bit more positive and talk about how you can feel the burn.
What is your stance on marijuana?
Well, here's my stance, and this is a really serious issue. We have more people in jail today than any other country on earth. You all know that? We have large numbers of lives that have been destroyed because of this war on drugs and because people, were caught smoking marijuana and so forth. I think we have got to end the war on drugs. And, I'm looking at what's going on in Colorado and elsewhere, but I am not unfavorably disposed to moving toward the legalization of marijuana.
Would you be open to the idea? Because I think you could combine some of these ideas, maybe have postal carriers deliver marijuana to people.
And that'll get rid of the federal deficit pretty quickly, won't it?
That's right. Bernie Sanders has been one of the most cannabis-friendly presidential candidates out there, but does he have what it takes to take down USS Hillary? Don't tell her I said that. That's kind of messed up. I think he does have what it takes.
Bernie Sanders' campaign reported raising more than $33 million in the final 3 months of the year, just $4 million short of Hillary Clinton's haul over the same period. This is fascinating. Sanders' overall fundraising total for 2015 was $73 million. He'll head into the new year just $10 million behind Clinton in terms of cash on hand. The Sanders campaign says its $2.5 million donations over the past year broke the record set 4 years ago by President Obama's re-election committee. Small contributions made up the vast majority of all the money Sanders raised. The average donation over the past 3 months was about $27.
Stop
right
there.
This is unprecedented.
Gene Robinson, unprecedented what Bernie Sanders is doing, the grassroots level of support that Bernie Sanders is getting.
So he has the cannabis support. He's raised a ton of money from the grassroots support. Sounds like there's only one thing left for Bernie Sanders to do. That's right, Bernie. Just learn to play the saxophone and you're in. No, but more seriously, the University of Western Illinois, the same people who predicted Barack Obama would win both of his presidential elections, they're using the same formula that has worked 100% of the time since 1975 for predicting presidents. They picked Bernie Sanders as the 2016 presidential winner. So perhaps, Bernie, you don't even need to learn to play the saxophone. We'll be right back. Welcome back into UPSCALE TV. Thank you so much again for being with us. Time now for our interview with Cullen Reichert. He is the CEO of Green Bros. They have one of the best dry trimming machines in all the country. And Cullen, who is a former U.S. American service member, is living that American dream. He stopped by the studio to tell us all about it. Over to you, Tim. Welcome back to the show, everyone. Thank you again for being with us. A fantastic interview for you right now. The gentleman sitting with me, his name's Cullen Reichert. He is the founder and CEO of Green Bros. They are the leading harvesting solution for the cannabis industry. Check them out. I really encourage you to. Now, one of the things, Cullen, first of all, thanks for coming into the show. One of the things we really wanted to talk to you about is your company is kind of embodying the idea of the American dream right now. It's part of your brand. You've been working to get that part of your brand. Now, you yourself really represent the American dream. You're a veteran, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I was in service during Gulf War I and did a little bit of Navy time during that time frame. Yeah, a little bit of time ago. But from American dream perspective, absolutely. You know, this is such an incredible industry to be involved in right now. The growth is going so fast, and the changes that are happening every day, especially for a young company, are amazing. So it's exciting. It's innovative. It's a chance to be creative. We get to work with great people all the time. So it's a lot of fun.
Now, what did you do when you got out? I mean, you hear all these different things about what people do when they get out of the military, the armed forces. What did you do specifically? Because it wasn't straight to Green Bros, was it?
Oh, no. No, I've spent a little bit of time doing a lot of different things, including working a pretty good career for corporate America as an engineer, a software engineer. So I spent a little bit of time doing that, and then finally just got up the gumption to get out on my own and build a company around a machine that I invented in 2012.
So why start Green Bros? Why get into the cannabis space? What was that decision for you?
That's a great question. I actually, the why is I thought I was going to invent this machine and it was going to be, everybody would want one and it was going to be this magic moment. But it turned out to be even better than that, because actually what happened was I invented the machine and was able to build a company around it. And so instead of having this, get rich quick story, what we have is an opportunity to actually, provide something for a lot of different people and be a value add to the community, to this community, to the veteran community, and to the people around us.
So you get out of the military, you get out of the armed service, you go from serving the country in one way, I guess, to serving a country in a different way by being the leading automated harvesting solution for the cannabis industry. You yourself and Green Bros really are kind of embodying that American dream ideology. I mean, your company grew from almost zero sales in the first year to what, $3 or $4 million this year. What do you think's been so instrumental in your company's growth so far?
It's a concern and a regard for the people that we actually serve, right? So we've taken service from serving the country, like you said, to now serving our customers and our client base. Our sales focus is really all about your success, what we can do to make you a better and more efficient company. It's difficult in any industry, but especially in a growth industry, to stay on top of things and to be a performer when everybody around you is getting better and quicker and faster, right? So what we do is we provide equipment that helps to level that playing field, gets people to productivity faster, gets them to earn money, profit margins to grow, that kind of thing. So we're really focused on getting your success, our customer success first. And out of that, it's just, bam, we went from, like you said, like 300,000 last year to almost 4.5 million this year. And that growth looks like it's going to continue through next year easily and several years to come.
Now, one of the hottest topics on the cannabis industry is it's blowing up. It's becoming one of the biggest industries in America, and the competition's getting fierce, and you have to kind of establish that brand as to why you're going to set yourself apart. Now, you guys are doing that in the fact that you're working that American dream feel into your brand. How are you carrying that over, and how are you looking to start that up in your brand?
So again, it comes back to the older kind of thought process, where it's customer satisfaction, customer service, taking care of other people, providing opportunity, and we look at that all the way across our whole platform. So as we look at providing this industry with the best opportunities for their success, we're also dealing with people on a one-on-one basis. So when we go and meet somebody, we form a relationship that we expect to last, for a long period of time. As long as they're in business, we plan to be in business there to support them. So that's really kind of the cornerstone of it. And that's, to me, what the American dream is about, again, bringing back jobs to this country, bringing back community to this country, supporting each other as we move forward, not sending everything overseas just to make a buck. We can actually do it here. We can be productive here. We can support our people, support our veterans, support your causes, support your community. All these things can be done in business, and you can still make profit. It's not, there's nothing wrong with it. It's great.
So now if you could walk me through what hardships, or have you faced any hardships in getting into the cannabis industry and navigating it that you could share with us?
Well, I faced a lot of the startup hardships that everybody faces, not industry specific, but specifically for this industry, banking has been the biggest challenge. We deal with a customer base who is, legal in the areas that we do most of our business in, and then medical and different regulations. So there's a huge amount of regulation around the industry that we have to kind of work our way in and out of a little bit. And so the challenge around getting a banking partner that is willing to work with us and accept some of the cash volume that we have to deal with because of just who our customers are. Those are the challenges, and it's frustrating because you don't have the access, to that normal startup businesses have. We have to do things very creatively.
What do you think is going to change that needle for the banking industry moving forward? Is it just dependent on federal legalization across the board, or is there anything else in your mind that'll kind of affect that change?
That's a great question. I think it's probably a lot deeper than a one-line answer, but there's a lot of creative people who are working on those solutions right now. And as we push forward, you're seeing these things come out that just haven't quite mainstreamed. But a company like mine who doesn't touch the product, that we don't do anything with cannabis, you would think there wouldn't be an issue at all, and yet we still have a little bit of a stigma to deal with. So hoping to see that disappear here shortly, but who knows?
Now, when you're developing that first machine, okay, you're going through the science and the engineering of making it happen. You're dealing with, the setbacks in the space with the startup and operating in the toughest industry in America. Was there ever a point in time where you thought about giving up and switching and getting into another line of work?
Yeah. The first trade show I went to, I took my machines. It was at that time it was a tumbler, dry sift tumbler that I created. I have a patent on. I took it to a trade show and went to this trade show and basically nothing. It was pretty daunting, and so I had all of my savings and all of my my money wrapped up in a bunch of machines that now appeared to be absolutely worthless. And so I ended up packing them up and taking them to Northern California and looking for people that I could partner with. And thankfully, I found a company in Northern California, and the rest is, as they say, history.
What kept you going? I mean, you could have given up and no one would have blamed you, right? I mean, you hit those roadblocks, but what moved you along?
You just come to a point in your life where you just make a decision. This is what I'm going to do. And then you realize that takes this. And so you just do it. You just go, okay, well, that just another obstacle. We're going to move on beyond that. It doesn't matter what that obstacle is because I wanted to do this. I wanted to be in business for myself. I wanted to have a company that has the same values that I have. And I couldn't find that from anybody else. Everybody has their own values, but I wanted my values. I wanted the American dream values that I had in my mind. I wanted that to be my company's core. And the only way to do that was to be me. And so that's what I did. And you just say, I'm not letting it stop me. And we've been through some challenges, let me tell you, and they couldn't stop you, but you just say, I'm doing it. That's it.
How do you think your military background has kind of transferred into how you run your business? And I guess you're almost at times strategic stubbornness in that I'm going to make this idea work.
Well, when you serve in our armed forces, you start at the bottom and you do a lot of not fun jobs. But you do them because you have to and you're compelled to, but you also committed to it. And so part of that, you take that with you. And now there's a lot of stuff I have to do on a regular basis that I don't like. I hate some of the stuff that you have to do, but you do it anyway because it's part of your duty, if you will, part of your commitment, and that's what I got, pulled out of the military was that commitment, and also that camaraderie, and Green Bros kind of came out of that. BROZ being a slang on brothers, because it's a brotherhood that we're creating. It's and not to be sexist, but it's what it is. It's a community of that closeness that you get in the military or on an athletic team or whatever that is. You get that, and I want that to be part of who we are. I want everybody in the company to have that closeness and kind of commitment.
And then last question before we get you out of here, what is on the horizon for Green Bros that you can share with us? I mean, you're going to be a routine guest that you're going to be talking on this show on panels and really the American Dream segment we're going to be cultivating on this show, so pay attention to it. But what's on the horizon you can share with us now for Green Bros?
Wow. We are working with some very solid strategic partners to actually realize our short and midterm goals. We found a really good partner in Southern Colorado, and it looks like we're going to team up with them and actually be able to develop one of our big projects that we've been working on, which is an end-to-end processing system from beginning to end. So really, really excited. People are seeing the quality of our product. They're seeing how much we're saving people money, what we're doing for the industry, and they're responding. And that response is giving us the ability to continue to dream and move forward. And I love it. I mean, the fact that someone's willing to invest in my dreams now because they're seeing the success that we've had it's awesome. It's just a great feeling to know that somebody believes in me the way that I believe in this, and the way that this team believes in this. So.
Well, I can say from obviously from the show, congratulations on your success so far. I look forward to having you on again. He's Colin Reichert. He is the founder and CEO of Green Bros. He's going to be a routine guest on the show. Check out that American Dream segment we have upcoming too. It's going to be sick, a recurring monthly segment. So once again, check him out, greenbros.com. That's Green Bros with a Z. Colin, thank you so much for the first interview, man. Cool. Well, let's jump to break now, and we'll be right back on Upscale TV. Hey, big thanks to Colin Reichert for the interview. Thank you, Tim, for the great questions. Now it's time to jump over to the Kind 2-minute drill to talk to David Dinenberg, CEO of Kind Financial. We started this segment, by the way, because I know about as much about banking and finance in the cannabis industry as I know about rocket science in the rocket industry, which is basically nothing. So we got David Dinenberg in here. He is one of the top entrepreneurs from 2015, and his company, Kind Financial, is leading the way in a variety of categories. So take it away with the Kind 2-minute drill. Thanks, Tim. We're here with the Kind 2-minute drill with David Dinenberg, the CEO of Kind Financial. You can check him out, kind.financial. David, how do you think the cannabis industry and banks, relationship between the two, how has it changed or helped, or has it?
It's changed a lot, Tim. Since I've entered the industry, I think the number's gone from 0 banks entering the space to north of 100 banks entering the space. They are the smaller banks. They're probably the banks that we've never really publicly heard of, but they are the bank you drive past when you're driving to the grocery store. This industry, at least for now, for the next several years, will be serviced by the community banks, which are usually the state chartered banks, as well as the credit unions. They can comply with the Cole memo and the FinCEN memo because they do a hybrid of compliance through personal touch and technology. Just like in my company, Link to Banking, we have the services, we have the ability, we have the foresight to educate the banks and educating the bank's customer on how the two can work together. And education is something that's very important in this industry. The banks need to understand what the industry expects, and the industry needs to educate the banks of what we expect. And if we can do that, we'll move this ball forward.
That's going to do it for our 2-minute drill. Back to you at the desk, Tim. Welcome back into Upscale TV. Time now to jump back over to the interview couches and talk to Daryl Cotton, president of Indigrow. Over to you, Tim. Hey guys, thank you for being here again with this guy right now, Daryl Cotton, the president of Indigrow. Daryl, we have so much to talk about. First of all, thanks for joining me on the show.
Thank you for having me, Tim. It's a pleasure.
We go way back, man.
Well, we do.
We go way back.
I remember you when.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you're on TV.
Now we're on the show. No, but we wanted to bring you in to talk about a couple of different things. I mean, you're big with aquaponics. You're big with sustainable farming. I feel like more people, first of all, just need to know what aquaponics is, because I think it's amazing. Can you, first of all, just tell us what it is?
And Tim, you've been around. You've seen what we've done. Aquaponics is a 6,000-year-old type of gardening that requires using plants and fish together so that you have this symbiosis. The fish and their waste creates the macronutrients for the plants, and the plants scrub the waste so that it doesn't become toxic to the fish. So when in balance, it's a very, very essential element. It's sustainable in that we're not taking water and leaching it away from the root zone. It's just a big recirculating system, and you can grow a wide variety of crops in it. So it's perfect for urban gardening, and that's why we've been bonded to it.
Well, what I think the coolest part is you're actually using fish to propel this farming system. How did you even come up with the idea to use that?
Well, it's a 6 million year old technology that the Egyptians gave us, and they were using fish to supply the nutrients for their crops. And as you know, the Egyptians were wonderful at doing anything with water and growing food in very barren environments. So we're here in San Diego. We don't have much water or historical drought conditions, and we're attracted to it because some of the larger companies that do this worldwide will take the very large scale projects like Pentair aquaponic ecosystems and feed whole villages. What we looked at is doing it at a micro level, micro farms. We call it farm to fork, and that's the ability to build small aquaponic gardens and feed local people with fish that supply the nutrients to the plants. It's called aquaponics, and it's wonderful. It solves a lot of our problems in terms of sustainable farming.
Now we're talking about sustainability. Obviously, you mentioned the Egyptians doing this in drought-ridden lands. California
Yes.
is basically that right now. How much water do you think people can actually save using the aquaponics system?
It's a really water-friendly technology. It only uses about 5% of the water that a traditional soils garden would use. That water, when it hits...
5%?
True, and the water will leach away from the roots, and it will carry the nutrients away from the roots too. So one of the nice things about aquaponics as opposed to hydroponics or soil gardening is you always have a very steady load or nutrient load in the water, because every time you feed the fish, you know, their waste is what provides the nutrients to our plants. And that's a really nice balance, because the plants have to scrub the fish waste of the nitrites and or nitrates, that is, and pull that out of the water so that it doesn't become toxic to the fish.
Now, obviously, this show is covering the medical cannabis industry, but
Sure.
this isn't only applied towards cannabis, right?
No, and one of the things, we have a confluence of events right now with a lot of states becoming legal, and most of the gardeners will get into that, and they're very skilled gardeners, by the way. We need to take advantage of that for food, too. And one of the reasons I bring that up is because there's ideologies like this 151 farming technology or technique that includes growing 1 pound of cannabis for 5 pounds of food for one world, 151. It also means that you would have 1 pound of fish to 5 gallons of water for 1 square foot of media. So 151 catches a couple of elements of this type of farming that goes beyond cannabis. Cannabis is a great plant, and it grows as a weed. You know, it's very, very well in a lot of very difficult environments, but we're giving them the optimum growing conditions. So as farmers, I think it all starts with the plant, and we really should look at how we go about feeding our people with these technologies, and aquaponics is great for that.
So expunge on that, if you could, for just a minute. Farmers 151, what's the motto behind it? Why did you found that and start it?
Well, I don't take full credit for it, but what it does do is it takes a look at what we need in the community, and because now there's this massive opportunity to pick up cannabis as a cash crop and develop it. We also have the need for jobs. We also have the need to feed people locally, and we have tremendous water issues here in many of the western states. So as these laws get passed, we have to look at ways to sustainably bring these plants to market, these crops, and to do so in a sustainable fashion that is ecologically friendly. So from a power and water standpoint, you know, those things were I was attracted to that, and that's why I bonded to them.
What are some of the other crops you can grow using this method that you have grown?
Well, when we met, it was at the Barrio Logan Urban Farm. So we took an inner city property, and within 30 days had it developed to where we were growing crops out there. And we were growing hops and lettuce and tomatoes. Hops is a companion crop to cannabis. So while we won't always have, you know, be able to point to cannabis, but we can say there's other companion crops that grow just identically. They're trichome producing plants as cannabis. We know cannabis can be grown under aquaponics. I think there needs to be more people to look at that as an alternative strategy in their overall plans to provide food and medicine to the community.
Now, when you tie all of this together, where does Indigrow fit in? I mean, all these different SKUs.
Well, there is a lot of SKUs, but really it comes down to us. You know, we've been building induction grow lighting using a Tesla technology for the last 6 years now, and the lamps themselves last for 10 years under warranty. So anything that's like that you don't have to throw out and replace every 6 months, which most growers replace their lamps every 6 months, the amount of energy these current technologies have is unsustainable. And when you look at what that takes on the grid, you know, we just don't produce enough power to manage these high wattage, high temperature grow rooms. So I looked for alternatives, and at first I thought it was LED, light emitting diodes, and they're great technology, but a lot of growers are not happy with the results. So we look for broad spectrum, we look for high enough intensities, and managing the entire environment with CO2 levels and temperatures and things that optimize plant growth. But historically, grow rooms have been indoors for cannabis. That's with the new laws passing. I hope we'll go outdoors or into greenhouses to where we can manage that using the sun more than any light. But for our purposes, Indigrow is an induction light, and we're very happy to stand on the shoulders of Nikola Tesla and bring that to the indoor growing environment.
All right, now we have just a couple of minutes for an extra question on Facebook. This one coming to us from Jade. Jade wants to know, how would you compare a hydroponic versus aquaponic cannabis grow?
It's like any of the crops that you would say there's an organically grown crop and one that you would see in a major supermarket where chemicals have been added to make it available to sit on the shelf longer. So that's going to be a more perfect looking plant. When I look at hydroponically grown plants, they're going to be fully optimized, developed, but a lot of times there's nutrients left in that plant and you as the patient are going to end up taking some of that in. Whereas on an aquaponic grow, you can never add anything to that garden that would harm the fish. So there will never be insecticides, pesticides, fungicides. The plants will, and depending on the genetics, grow just as well, but sometimes you will give up some weight, but the offset to that is you're not getting anything in there that would be harmful to you, to the patient, because obviously something that would harm the fish would harm the patient.
Thanks for the question, Jade. His name is Daryl Cotton. He is the president of Indigrow. Check them out, indigrow.com. That's Inda-Grow with no W. Okay?
No W.
No W, okay? Daryl, thank you so much for the time,
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. The first
really
of many.
enjoyed it.
He'll be back, people.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Tim, back to you over at the host desk. Hey, thanks, Tim. A big thanks to Daryl Cotton, president of Indigrow. Once again, you can check him out, indigrow.com. That's Inda-Grow, no W.com. They're doing some great stuff in this space. Before we get out of here, as we are almost done with episode 2 of UPSCALE TV, want to get you the featured product of the week. This week, we're talking all about Canna Relief. Listen up, today's cannabis products are strong, okay? They can make you anxious, they can make you sick, especially if you don't know your tolerance. Canna Relief, scientifically shown to help. Canna Relief uses scientifically proven, patent-pending formulas to help cannabis consumers manage and control their high. This 100% industrial hemp-derived CBD product quickly and effectively relieves anxiety and sickness from cannabis overuse, and just like other hemp products, is legal in all 50 states. Simply put, from the seasoned cannabis consumer to the first-time novice, Canna Relief is a must-have safety product for all cannabis consumers. We're giving away 8 3-packs valued over $40 each. So like, comment, and share on UPSCALE Media's Facebook for your chance to win. And if you don't get lucky this time, don't forget to check out cannasafety.com. I would go get some. Safety first, kids. Always make sure you're prepared. All right, that's going to do it for us on the show today. Big thanks to Cullen Reichert and Daryl Cotton, the CEOs of Green Bros and the president of Indigrow, respectively. Check out their website. They're both doing great stuff. Stay tuned for the show next week. We have 3 doctors on the program. They're going to be talking about medical hemp and medical CBD. Dr. Allison Moitry, Dr. Stuart Titus, and Dr. Marie Walbridge. Our first ever panel on the show. All 3 guests, 1 time. It's going to be very exciting, so make sure you're back with us on UPSCALE TV next week. I'm Tim Stromble. We will see you next week on UPSCALE TV.